things that we see is India is, ahead or at par, not at a disadvantage as compared to other nations. And one of this is because of the innovations that we're driving within India. And I would like the panelists to talk a little bit about what are the innovations they see happening or what are the innovations they would like to see happening. Now, well, we talk about innovations, and before I get to the panelists, what we're seeing globally in this entire space of innovation is something what we call as open innovation. And what is the concept of open innovation is that multiple companies are getting together to innovate. Okay, so the earlier concept of innovation was I as an organization had a great idea, but I used to use my resources, keep it under very closed, guard, and use that innovation then for my competitive advantage. That was the model, the old model of innovation. The open innovation model is where multiple companies get together, pool their resources, and work together to do something. I'll give you an example of what we are doing in IBM along with NASA. Okay, NASA has got a lot of weather data that they collect over a period of time and space data that they have and so on. But they don't know what to do with the data because obviously, of course they know what to do, but what we are bringing to them is the use of technology. So we are bringing to them, some foundational models similar to large language models, but which are using weather data and the image data to start generating insights. And then we're giving a platform to developers to now develop applications on top of that so that they can be useful for people, right? So now NASA couldn't have done that on their own, neither could IBM do it on their own, but the two organizations coming together, they've created an innovation which the industry can then use. So there are examples globally of open innovation that organizations are doing. So this is something that, is something where we can collaborate with people either in India or across industries with academic institutions. There's a lot of happening in this space that we can accelerate the pace of innovation. But I would like to hear from our panelists about what they see as good innovation happening in India and or what they would like to see, some of the things that probably are barriers to moving fast enough. Yeah?
So, today when we deliver to our customers' home, so I'm sure that, all of you would deliver, and I'm sure just give a check. When the article or the item that you have ordered from IKEA, when it gets delivered, just have a peek from the window, you will see an electric vehicle there down, your place. The boxes will have a EV tag by default because it has been, a sustainable tag. We don't speak loud that we have delivered, but we always put that as a green sticker on the box because all of our articles to all our homes that gets delivered is through, electric vehicle. Coming to the innovation, innovation takes time. Innovation takes time, and there are a lot of hurdles that we come across. All of us comes across, when that comes to change is not easy for, anyone, be that an organization even. But thankfully here at IKEA, just to sensitize how important sustainability is, the CEO of the company happens to be the Chief Sustainability Officer. So today when we speak about anything in any of the meetings, the first agenda that we pick up is sustainability. It's not about the sales, it's not about the revenue that we first, when we open a Monday morning meeting, it's about the sustainability, how much of the climate footprint, the carbon footprint. So when we switch on our, our laptops, the first on the screen that comes is, what was the previous day, what was the, the kind of carbon that we saved. That's the kind of focus that we have been running. Again, that also leads us to a faster innovation, So today, for example, when we deliver something to our house, there's a route map that happens, right? So a previous evening or early morning, we do a route mapping as to, which pin code, which article has to go first, and that's how the vehicle would run. Along with it, we also have a global tool which is called a DMP, Delivery Management Platform, which is basis some, some algos that we have created in that. Difficult that to get implemented here in India because of the congested lane, and all those, we know the trivial parts of the maps that we face across. And to add to it, the problem about the electric vehicle is about the range. There's always a range anxiety, right? More or less the drivers have been old enough and there's not much of range anxiety, but when we do a route mapping, there's a degree of range anxiety. We understand that all the vehicles come with telematics. For people who would be not aware, telematics is something like it's a IoT based, which gives a complete health checkup of the vehicle as the vehicle, runs on wheels. So it gives you just not a typical GPS tracker, but also shows you the temperature of the batteries, the motor, the kind of acceleration, the speed limit if the driver is crossing, everything. We can check and do everything on the vehicle, and I'm sure you all too could do. So all the electric vehicles come embedded with telematics. So with innovation, what we did was we started with DMP merging with the telematics, a global tool merging with a local telematics of the OEM or the vehicle manufacturer. We also started understanding that since there's a range anxiety, let's say a vehicle is running 120 kilometer or 130 kilometer on full charge, and there could be further pin codes, let's say at a pin code of 130 where I have to deliver a bed, right? And the moment there could be a chance that end of the day, the vehicle might run the juice and it might not get delivered. So the route planning, the innovation that we did was we started analyzing the kind of orders who started coming on a specific pin codes on a specific day, on a specific month, or in a week. And we made it a point that the heavier articles gets delivered first. So the moment the truck lifts my hub, let's say at 8 or 7 in the morning, I make it a point that even if it's a far-fetched, I will deliver the heavier article first so that for the rest of the day, since the payload has come down, my range will increase, right? That is the first piece of innovation that we did. Because we were struggling big time. Every now and then people would say, hey, the vehicle will not, even they say 100, 120, it will break down at, maybe, even lesser. The driver would be anxious. How do I get back with the vehicle if it gets stuck on the traffic? So that kind of anxiety that we broke through this innovation that we did. The other innovation we did was also to understand the driving pattern of a driver. So we understood which set of drivers were driving at a faster pace, like 55, 60 kilometer, who would accelerate, and who were the better ones. Basis that we again put certain algos in place to understand kind of the driver, the behavioral pattern, and we started locking the speed through telematics offline. Like we sitting at office, we understood that, okay, these are the set of vehicles which are running faster. And on a city road, we don't require a 50, 60, 70 kilometer per hour speed. We don't require that. Maybe a 40 kilometers is good and safe and also healthy for the vehicle and the articles also. There's always a risk of breaking down some glass articles. So we cut down the speed. So those are the small steps that we took. We are not saying that we did great. We did a lot of big innovations. We did quite a few big innovations which are still under progress. But these small innovations which would have taken time, we did it at a faster pace, maybe 2-3 years back, and that actually resulted us with good numbers.
That's a very interesting thing. What you're saying is earlier we used to do a cost optimization whenever you did route planning and so on. Now you're also taking carbon optimization in some way and looking at route planning. So I think that is a very interesting observation.
Yeah.